Hi everyone, it's Joe here from Lawn Solutions Australia and welcome to another episode of Turf Talk where we're joined by you didn't give me a proper title before, but you're the founder, the owner of Harden Park Lawns, Melissa Denney. Welcome.
Thank you, Joe.
So, Harden Park, a turf farm in the far north Queensland area in Cairns. What kind of business is Harden Park Lawns? What areas do you service? What grass do you grow? How big are you? What do you do?
We are situated about 8 k's south of Cairns. We've only got a very small farm. We're very fortunate because of the weather and the climate that we can grow our crops quite quickly.
Yeah.
So we grow Sir Walter, Tiff Tuff, Sir Grange, bit of broadleaf, Australis,
And what's growing grass like in Cairns? Very easy sometimes and very hard other times? Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, because of the growth, it's great.
Yeah.
But we do have our challenges, the wet season, which we have low light with cloud cover. But we can't mow and harvest at different times of the year. But every other rest of the year it's great.
So your dry season, which is our winter months,
That's right.
predominantly, isn't it? So how quickly could you grow a Sir Walter crop in Cairns with good weather from plant to harvest?
From plant, we actually have done it in 5 months.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's half the time that any other farm in Australia could produce their absolute quickest crop. So it's really, really good. But it's not all sunshines and rainbows growing grass in Cairns, is it? Explain to us what a bad January can look like for you. Is that the wettest?
January, our wet season can vary. So it can be before Christmas, it can be a December, it can run through to the end of April. It depends. It depends on the year. So normally we'd say our wet season would be sort of mid-February. It can end in end of April. And in between that we can get a few cyclones, or threats of cyclones, so all of that sort of stuff. But generally the rest part of the year is the best time to be at Cairns.
Yeah. And I remember talking to you one Friday and you told me to get onto the bomb radar and have a look at Cairns, and it was black.
Yes.
And I've never seen a radar that was black before. So what's a bad couple of days of rainfall for you guys in the wet season when you're trying to grow grass?
Michael, my husband, always measures rainfall in Cairns in metres. So
there you go.
It varies. It depends on, if we have a wet season, it's just always top up of rain, so it never gets an opportunity to dry out. So, we can 200 mils, 300 mils. That's what we can get up to.
And what happens to the grass? So you just don't harvest.
We just can't. We can't even get on the paddocks. And then it's very difficult. Then you've got to try and recover the paddock after the wet season and get on there. So any opportunity that we can get on, we will. We do have smaller, right on mowers. I know it sounds bizarre on a turf farm to have, but opportunities to even just get the cut faces just mowed down, so we can, at least when it dries up, we've got something to harvest.
So how much water can you have over your paddocks in a wet season? Can you have a metre of water over your paddocks?
Our paddocks run off fairly quickly. You can have, some parts of our farm, yes, we can. Yeah.
And a lot of water in far north Queensland. Have you ever had a croc on the turf paddock?
Well, funny you ask that. Well, we used to share farm down in D-Roll, and they used to have these big long gullies. There used to be that was crocs sunbaking when you're trying to do the mowing, and also when we used to ferry turf up late at night. Michael used to go down and load turf on the back of. We used to have an old crane truck, and our oldest son, used to go down with the head torch and making sure that no crocs will come around. I know it sounds, people go, "Oh, that's not true." It is true.
Wow.
Alec was just spotting to see if there was any eyes looking at Michael. So yeah.
So we're talking to a Victorian turf farmer before, and one of their biggest challenges was cold weather, and yours is man-eating crocodiles.
Yeah. But normally, no, it's not normally a risk.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't, on our home farm, you wouldn't see that. But that was just, we used to just share farm on that, and it used to back onto the Mulgrave River. So
Right. So unique place, like we said, but outside of the the wet season, the rainy season, and a couple of months you have where it's just pretty much underwater the whole time. The rest of the year, how do you mitigate the heat with your crop? Is it just constant irrigation for you guys? Is that a big thing for you there?
Yeah, because of where we are so used to high rainfall, we actually need to irrigate when it's dry. So heat is a big issue, and not only for our crop but for our staff as well. We've got to make sure they keep cool. Yeah. So the best time if you ever come to Cairns is really from June up to the end of August, September. Yeah. So if anyone's coming for a holiday our way, that's the time. But from then on, this time of year, what are we in November? You can get thunderstorms coming up. So
So, and your staff on farm, so it's a family business, you and your husband Michael. How many staff you got there?
We got 7.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
This is fairly unique. So most turf businesses, I know our family business that we're involved in, if we have to go an hour to drop turf, it's a long way. Mm. What are some of the places you've taken grass to, and where are some of the places you take turf to regularly? Because part of obviously one of the benefits of growing grass up there is the warm weather, and you can turn a crop over quickly. But one of the negatives is sometimes you've got to take turf a fair way to people. There's a long way in between towns. So what are a couple of places that you've taken turf to on a one-off basis? How long did it take you? And what are some of the places that you travel to on a weekly basis? On a weekly basis.
Most of the turf that comes off our farm, we do the domestic. So it's just around Cairns and all the beaches and south. That's what we deliver personally. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to doing a lot of stuff further than the local area, we'll put it on transport or barges. So on a weekly basis, we go down to Gladstone, out to Mount Isa. So, looking at thousands of kilometres. Yeah. And then the weirdest place that we've done is over in remote islands. It has to be barged over. But anywhere from Gladstone out to Mount Isa, up to the tip of Australia, that's where we'll deliver to.
How far is Mount Isa from Harden Park Lawns in a truck?
So it's 13 hours drive.
Is that all?
And about 13,000 kilometres,
So what do you do when it's 31 degrees and you've got to put turf in a truck for 13 hours and have it fresh on the other side? How do you mitigate that?
Obviously, having the crop ready to go. Yeah. Obviously, no clipping and moisture, as less moisture as possible so it can hold on. Timing is important, making sure everything's in line. Yeah. And a few other tricks that we do to get it so at the other end it's nice and green and lush.
So it's not Harden Park Lawns trucks going too far most of the time, is it? It normally gets put on transport. And say a standard week where you go down to Gladstone, for example, Gladstone Mackay, they're still a fair hike for you, aren't they? Aren't they like 8 to 10 hours?
Yeah, they're about the same distance as Gladstone's about the same as Mount Isa, but it's down the coast. Yeah. Mackay's 8 hours, Rockhampton, Yeppoon, all of those we go to, Townsville. So, that's twice a week we'll do that.
Just down the road.
Yeah, down the road.
Just down the road.
We're in Queensland, remember.
And your journey yourself, so you weren't always a turf farmer. You've come through a few different industries, mainly ag industries, and I've been to your farm there in Cairns. It's in Wrights Creek. It's a beautiful farm, but it's surrounded by sugarcane. So sugarcane's been quite a integral part of your career. Have I got that right there? So how'd you come into? So where'd you start in your career when you left school or whatever you did, and how'd you get to where you are today? Okay,
I wasn't the most studious person. It was actually a good time, school was, but so I wasn't the academic type, put it that way.
Right.
So what I did actually when I left school, I don't know whether I've ever told you this, but I used to be an apprentice hairdresser.
Did you?
Yeah. So I did that. I did that for about 13 months, and I don't think they trusted me with scissors, so I decided to move on from there.
It's a safety issue.
Yeah, safety issue. I wanted to be a racehorse trainer, actually.
Did you really?
And I did that for a little bit. I was a little owner trainer, had my own racehorse.
Okay,
but
hang on, let's stop there for a second. No. Let's stop there. Anything that you actually took to the races?
I did, but I can't remember its name. I actually have to show you my old licence. Yeah. I did that. I used to work in the race tracks in the morning, hosing horses.
Did you have a winner?
No, I come second.
Did you?
Yeah, probably only about there's 5 horses.
So you're an owner trainer.
I was an owner trainer. I can't
Wow.
remember her name. God, it was a mare. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did that for a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Hang on.
Hang on.
So, hairdresser,
He-
horse owner, trainer.
yeah, but I wasn't good at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just how? Like,
Oh, look, how did that happen? Well, I used to. My parents owned a property. I used to back onto the racetrack.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's where that all came from.
Yeah.
And there's a riding school next to our property. And
Yeah.
when I was a young kid, a next door neighbour I used to ride one of the horses. Down to the track in the morning. Her name was Sugar Lips. I remember that.
Sugar Lips.
Yeah. So I used to ride it down. And that's how it all started. So I've ridden horses most of my life until the age now.
Right.
Yeah. So so that was that. So after that, I actually worked in a spare part selling ag machinery.
this is the most random.
I'd be editing this. I tell
great.
you what.
That's cool.
So that's what I did. My parents own earth moving business, so I was that was I used to run down the shop and go and get bearings and stuff for Dad. So I always knew that.
Yeah.
And then I got a phone call from a friend. They're looking for somebody to work as a labourer at a place called BSES, Bureau of Sugar Experiment Station at Moringa.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into that. So I was a labourer with the guys. I used to cut stalks of cane, drag them in the paddock, chuck them in the ute. Used to take them to the lab. And that was seasonal. So it was only 8-9 months of the year. And then I got a call up again. But in between that, I was a driving instructor.
It's better.
So I was a driving instructor in between times. So and then I got a full-time job there. So I worked there for about 12 years.
And what you did there was you got into the scientific side of things a bit, didn't you? Like sugarcane breeding and improving strains and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I was there doing all weird and wonderful things. So I was working in the photo
Sort
period.
of fits the bill, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. So I was doing working at the bureau in the photo period room.
Yeah.
And I was just doing, I used to work for a guy called Dr. Nils Birding, who's actually world renowned within the sugarcane industry all over the world.
Yeah.
He was a great boss.
Yeah.
So I used to get all these weird and wonderful things. I think the weirdest thing I had to do was actually count how many times the fan rotated. At one time, so I did some really boring stuff. So I did that, and it was probably the best job.
Yeah.
It was unreal, and it made me have an insight into the ag industry, and it was great. I learnt a hell of a lot.
Is there a lot of crossover between what you did there and what? Because you've come on quite a few turf trips around the world where we've looked at turf grass research. We went to Dr. Ambrika Chandra's lab with breeding turf grasses there. Do you see much technology in that from what you used to do in sugarcane?
Definitely. I got really excited when I was there. I was just like, oh my gosh, this just brings me back 20 years. So it was lovely. It was great. Definitely some of the equipment that I saw there is what we had, obviously updated. But it was really good.
The theory behind the genetics in turfgrass would be similar to sugarcane?
Very similar, yeah. It, it's just a bigger grass, really, at the end of the day. And the breeding side of things, very similar.
Did you have any sugarcane breeds named after you?
No, they're all queens. No.
Sugar lips?
Sugar lips, no. The job that I remember the most was when we started there, it was in the 80s, and the females, we weren't allowed to wear pants. We had to wear skirts, dresses.
Right.
And in walking in and out of a paddock, it was a bit, it wasn't really, I used to do the reading with the refractometer to have the readings of the sugar. We used to count the stools, how high they were, what colour they were, any disease, and we used to spend weeks and weeks in there. So that was kind of February, March, where it was as hot as sin. But
your whole goal there was to find new and improve.
Definitely.
Same as what we're doing in turfgrass now.
Yeah.
And so what was the next step then for you? Out of working for the sugarcane breeding place into turf, was that something you saw, or was something you got by chance, or how did that come about?
Yeah, well, in between that, at the end of that, I had 2 children. So working at a job in the early in the mornings, late in the evenings, I had to be a mother as well. So I decided to buy a herb business called Simply Herbs.
Okay.
So I used to supply to Coles and IGA stores. So it started as when I bought it, they only had one store they were supplying. So at the end of it had all the stores from all in Cairns and surrounding down to Innisfail, and I used to deliver the herbs in my little Mazda 323 with my kids in the car, and off I went, and then I advanced to a van and went on to that.
Wow.
So in coming to where the turf farm is, I used to lease an area off the turf farm to grow the herbs, and then we had an opportunity to buy the farm when it came up for sale.
So it was a turf farm before you took it over?
It was only probably about, a couple of acres, really.
Was it called Harden Park Lawns?
No, it wasn't called. So Harden Park Lawns came from my maiden name's Hardy and married name Denny. So we cut it in half and put it together, and that's how it came up.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
There you go. So you were growing herbs and you saw the turf farm for sale, and your husband, any ag experience at the time?
Well, Michael had worked on the turf farm prior to that. Yeah. And so that's where it all started from. We weren't actually intentionally to do the turf farm. We just needed the property to expand our herb business.
Oh, okay, righto.
Yeah, so it wasn't intentionally to do that, but at the end of the day, we ended up having a cyclone that wiped it all out. Okay. So we said, rightio, we'll put our hands...
Cyclone wiped your herb business out?
Yeah, Cyclone Larry, 2006 it was. Yeah, so Coles gave us a couple of weeks to get it all up and running again, and we still had no power at 3 weeks. So we decided we'll can that. So
when you say wiped it out, what kind of infrastructure did you have set up at the time?
We had 4 igloos, a growing tunnel. It was all done hydroponically.
Yeah.
So, so all the pump sheds, everything were gone. So
you just got there the next day and everything's gone. So you already had the turf farm at that point?
Yeah, we had the turf farm. Our house got damaged.
Yeah.
So it was a fair bit of...
And what were the obviously you know a lot about challenges having something like that happen to you, but what was the biggest challenge for you when you started growing grass? What was it? Something that obviously Michael had worked in before, but something that you hadn't worked in before. So what was the biggest challenge for you initially with growing grass?
Oh, challenges. There's lots of challenges. Yeah. When it comes down to probably believing in yourself that you can do stuff. Yeah. It was really, we were kind of young. We were very naive. We had big ambitions, but believing in ourselves and getting the product out there. Everything was done with a Ryan harvester back then, and it was old equipment. We had a Toyota Land Cruiser Ute. We bought a trailer. We painted it bright green. It cost us, I think, $1,200. It was so dear. It was crazy. Michael we used to load everything by hand, deliver everything, unload by hand. When we got an order of 2 pallets, we thought, holy moly, that's so cool. It just things like that. So everything, getting ourselves... trusting ourselves, I suppose.
That's such a cool story, and that's such a great response about what was the biggest transition for you or the hardest thing, and believing in yourself is the answer, and that's such a nice answer. And you started with a Ryan and a $1,200 bright green trailer. What does Harden Park Lawns look like today? You're not using a Ryan anymore, which is cool.
No, we're not. We've got a Firefly harvester, which makes things a lot easier.
I bet, yeah.
But before we got that, the Firefly, we got to end up getting a Princeton harvester. So it was, things changed. It got a little bit out of that.
And not hand loading onto the back of a ute anymore?
No, I do
hand. Back of the Land Cruiser trailer, sorry?
No, I think, but no, we still hand load customers when they turn up. But, I suppose when it comes down to where we started from and where we are now, I think we're leaps and bounds.
No, it's such a cool story. And obviously work's not everything. You've got a couple of kids now and a granddaughter.
Which
is cool. So what's life outside of work look like for Melissa Denney?
The kids, Mike and I are both so proud of them. They're doing so well.
Yeah.
We've got one son that's married to a lovely lady, and we have a granddaughter. Yeah. She's 16 months old, and our youngest son has got a lovely partner, and he's doing his thing. Yeah. Very special times, and we travel a fair bit. Yeah. We love seeing family, catching up. We love basketball. Yeah.
Mad Cairns Taipans fans.
I know. It's that's us, and that gets us off the farm. It's amazing having. I'm not a basketball I never played basketball in my life, but I'm a people watcher, and going to an event like that's amazing.
Because you go to every game pretty well, don't you?
You do got pretty good seats.
Season ticket holders.
Yeah.
I actually saw a video once. I don't have a lot of interest in Australian basketball, but I think the Hawks might have beat the Taipans once, and you were filming your husband when it went off, and it was some choice words used by him when that happened. But just back onto your, just quickly on your kids. Now, unique job. I know one of them's a doctor.
Eldest one's a doctor.
But he's somewhere remote.
No, he's in Bowen.
He's in Bowen.
He's in Bowen, and my daughter-in-law's a doctor as well.
Yeah.
And my youngest son is a pilot.
Yeah.
He's up flying around up on the Torres Straits at the moment.
That's right. Yeah. One of them was hopping around islands and doing some cool stuff.
We actually went up there not long ago and spent a couple of days with him, which was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it's a cool story from start to finish. And one thing I will say, we've done a lot of these episodes now, but I think you would have the most interesting CV out of anyone that came on.
Yeah.
It's quite a journey, but it's a real credit to both you and Michael for what you've done over the years. I know I've known you for a little while now and been a part of I've been a part of the story somewhat to a small degree, but some of that stuff you went through then I never knew or never heard. And once this is finished, I'm going to quiz you more on horse ownership and how to get a winner.
But can I just say, well, I met you, I think, and I was trying to work it out when you were about 12 years old.
Yeah.
It was a Turf Australia conference we had here.
A Turfco?
Yeah, at Turfco, and there was a dinner here. So it was pretty, that was cool. And after that, I don't know whether we've got time for this, but when Michael and I were actually trying to get a licence for the Sir Walter, and we asked for the application, and we looked at the application, and they're going, I need how many people you got in the office, and this is going back when we still had the green charla, and FPOS machine, where's your office located? It was actually on my kitchen bench, so and that was a bit scary, and so we thought, we're not good enough, so we closed it up and just put it aside, and then we had an opportunity to go down and have a look at some Sir Walter at another farm. I won't say what farm it was, and I looked at it, I'm going, it looks awful. And they showed us the most dodgiest pieces, Sir Walter. I'm going, okay, we folded it up. And then we saw it elsewhere.
Yeah.
We thought, they're not really showing us the real, true Sir Walter. Yeah. And then after the conference, that was in 2005, after the conference, we came back, went back home, and there was two people driving up in our driveway in a little white Arguettes, I think it was. Yeah. And two men hopped out, and I'm going, who are these guys? And it was Gavin and Brent.
Right.
Saying, would you like a licence? So I'm going, so that's how that's how we ended up.
And that's a nice little segue here. Before that, were you just growing carpet grass?
Yeah, we were. We're just growing broadleaf carpet grass and a little bit of cooch.
Yeah.
Broadleaf carpet grass, we still grow it.
Yeah.
It's not a very grey grass to grow.
Yeah.
A lot of inputs on it and little return. So
you're doing that, and then a couple of randoms popped out and gave you the licence that you closed the application.
I know, these two dodgy guys. Driveway. No, it was great. And what actually stood out with them is Gavin and Brent, when they drove up, is they just said, we want to have, you guys are the sort of people that we'd like on our team.
Yeah,
so
cool.
It was great. It was really good.
Yeah, it's been a fun journey since.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like I said, it's a cool story. It's a credit to you all from what you've done, and I know it hasn't always been the easiest road. You've had some ups and downs along your way, and to come out the other end like you had, it's a real credit to you. So I'm sure everyone would have absolutely loved that. Thanks for coming on and sharing your story. You nailed it.
Thanks, Joe.
I remember when I first started working at Lawn Solutions, we started a weekly newsletter, and I remember first putting it out there, and we had to get classifieds, and everyone sent in like trucks and hubs that had for sale. Melissa sent in a 1967 model husband that she was trying to get rid of, and I remember there going, "What the hell is this?"